going to have a short presentation by this month's subject matter expert, which is Rebecca Marks, who is team leader for assets at Greater Hume Council. And Rebecca is here to share her experience with geographic information systems, specifically in relation to cats. So please hold while we share screens with Rebecca, and so that she can do our presentation. So Beck, are you able
Yep.
to share? I think I clicked it.
So hi everyone. I have a little presentation for you.
Have you shared your screen?
Hang on, I'm looking
Okay.
at how to do that.
Yeah.
That one. There we go. Can you see that one?
Perfect. Perfect. So
Cool.
yeah, just hit presentation mode and you're good to go. Can you just introduce yourself a bit more properly than I did? Thanks.
Hi, I'm Beck. I work in Greater Hume, which is in southern New South Wales. It's been interesting listening to you all because we don't have cat curfews at this point. I personally don't own a cat. We keep removing them from our property, usually in a cage. Thankfully, some have gone home to owners, but yeah, it's very interesting just hearing what you're all going through. I know a lot of the rescues around here are full. I know it's been a bad cat season. But I'm not here to talk about that today. I'm here to talk about GIS systems. So what I'm here to talk about today is QGIS, which is a free software that you might want to use yourselves. I'm just going to show you the project that I have here is actually based on collecting data for bridges, but I'll show you how it could be relevant to cats a bit later on. So I've worked at council for 13 years. I started in GIS and it's still really probably what I have most of my background in. So what is QGIS? QGIS is a geographic information system and it is free. Most people balk when you say something is free. They want to know what the catch is. The only catch for freeware is that there isn't technical support from the people who make it because it's made by a bunch of people around the world in their spare time for the love of it. I put some more information in here about how it is free and why it is free. I can make this presentation available for people later so you can read through that stuff, but keeping this quick, what do we use it for? So we use it in the office to keep track of property information and assets, and pretty much anything you can think of that is attached to the ground and tends to stay put can be put onto a mapping system. But we also have a field version which we can use on a tablet or mobile for collecting information. And that's the bit that I'm going to talk to you guys about because I think it would be really useful for keeping track of perhaps where you've collected cats from. So the way that the data is collected is I have a basic setup on my computer here in the office and I put on what we want to put it on. There's a free app, the phone, and then it just gets loaded across to the phone. The people out in the or phone or tablet, the people out in the field, they go to collect the information on the tablet. Then that tablet connects back to the system and uploads all the information. So you end up with the same data across the whole system. I know back in the day when I first started talking about this stuff, things like tablets, GPS systems, very expensive. The one that I use every day is less than $400. I don't even use a SIM in it. The program works when you bring it back into Wi-Fi to sync the data anyway. So there's less cost involved in doing it. It makes it quite simple to say, oh, we're going to give this a try for a while, and if it doesn't work, we don't like it. All of our sewer and water guys are currently running around with the same tablets, looking at all their asset information with this. So if they're using it to find pipes under the ground anywhere, even if they don't have phone service, they can just zoom in and have a look. It's been very useful for them. So this is a project that I did. This little screenshot here, I'm going to show you a video in a moment, is what the tablet view will look like. So what I did was we went around and measured all of our bridges. We collected a bit of information about where they were, how old they were, how long and wide they were. We took some photos, and all of that information was stored and GPS located. So that little dot there is a bridge, and there's some of the information on the form. So this will be a little video. This is a screenshot from the tablet. and we just open the little app here and we go and pick one. Now this looks very complicated because this is what the sewer and water guys look at. So these are not technical people, they're usually plumbers or similar trade, and there's a bunch of lists here where they can turn things on and off, and this is what they use to look at when they're trying to find a pipe or a meter or which property it is. This one, you click on a property, we've got all this property information straight out of council system. This particular one's council's office, which is why I'm happy to show it to you. And all of the information is just in there. So if you were driving around somewhere and you wanted to find an address, or you wanted to click on a property and get the address, if you had that information from council system, you could do that. So I've just swapped it over here to the bridge map. The background on this one's a little bit fuzzier, but it's okay. You know, scroll it out here. This is hilly backcountry here. There's definitely no mobile service. If I had a GPS, it'd link to the GPS, but you can just scroll around on the map like I was doing there. I did that from my desk. So this is an example form. You can load information in it to start with, or you can add information as you go. You can load photos that you've taken. There's a picture of one of our culverts. And then I'm pretty sure what I'm going to do here. Yeah, I'm going to put it in editing mode so you can have a look. So in this case, the crosshairs are showing you where you would add a new asset, or in this case, where you found a cat. And I'm going to say we found one at the intersection of Tunnel Road and Hannells Road. And zoom in a bit more. And I add a new entry. Now you can see here the form is blank. We've got lots of different fields here. We can type stuff in manually. There's some drop-down options. So if you wanted to restrict what was put in there, you can put them into your drop-downs in the setup. If you don't like typing, you can use your finger or a stylus. Got a couple of not null fields here, so they're compulsory fields. I'm going to deliberately skip over one just here to show what will happen if you don't fill in a compulsory field. Here's some photos. That attaches on the point. So you might take a picture of the animal, or perhaps the address that you found it at, whatever you need to take a picture of here. This little verified true button here, or the date stamp you can do automatically, or you can manually pick a day. The verified, I had this set up with red dots meaning one thing and green dots being another. So I just hit that little toggle button and it'll change the color of the dots when we're finished. Now, if you remember, I said that we didn't do one of these compulsory fields. It's just said, no, you can't save it. You haven't finished it. So you come back and fill it in. And now it's all green and we can go saved, and that's it. So this could be set up in the office and then handed to someone to go out and collect the information. There's all the information we just typed in. It's all in there. We can edit it if we made a mistake. And turn things on and off. It's all pretty straightforward once it's there. So this is completely free. It's using data that we already had here in the council. It's creating new data. I've just moved that point. It was in the wrong spot. And at the end, I'm going to delete it because I don't want a random bridge on the end of the road there. That's not where it lives. So I'm speeding through this a bit quick, but I figure if I get through it, give you guys a bit of time at the end if you want to ask some questions. And there we go. That's it. It's done. It's gone. So the project was the bridge survey. This is what you see in the office. It's still set up like a little little form on the side there. I've got an awful lot of tools on, so that's going to look a lot scarier than what it would with the basic setup. But this is what it looks like when you're setting your layers up before you export it to the other system on the tablet. This is the information that you'd get back from a collection. So it's just like a spreadsheet in the background with a map point. So you could tell it, oh, this one, you've got to imagine each bridge is an animal. We've got an ID for each one. There's whatever information you want to put in, whether it's a cat or a kitten, maybe a microchip number, how big it is, what color it is, whatever you want to put in there, where you found it. Whatever information you put into that form, at the end, you can export like this as a spreadsheet. You can also export the map dots. Once you're in the office, you can export them to KML. So if you wanted to send that to Google for somebody else to look at and they don't have a GIS system, that's also pretty handy. So we were looking at bridges, but if you could imagine all the dots on those maps were instead cats. And you collected a dot every time you found a cat, or you put a trap out and you recorded how effective a trap in that location was. You could, where was this cat found? Were there other cats found in the area? How many cats were found? Do these cats occur in the same places? Do you keep going back to the same places for these cats? And I think, yeah, well, you can see through the answer, some of the questions I've asked there. So you might say, we have a few residents that we know don't control their cat numbers, and our rangers might go back every couple of years and pick up all the kittens. It can get pretty out of control sometimes, but they know that that location has lots of cats. The last few years we've changed rangers. They might not know about that area anymore unless there's a note on a file somewhere, or, so this data will just keep picking up as you're going around, put it in. You can see problem areas, maybe set up a plan for that area, come back to that area. Maybe that's where you target your education. Maybe that's where you put out some traps, whatever works. So in the end, the programs are free. We don't need IT support for them here because I'm a competent user myself, but there are a couple of companies out there that do all of the technical support for these programs. I can think of a couple in my area, so I'm sure that there'll be others. You can use it without an internet connection, which is fantastic for us. We've got a lot of really hilly terrain where we just don't have mobile reception. But if you did have a mobile connection, it would approximately place you on the map where you are. So if you're using your mobile phone and you had your GPS turned on your phone, it would actually center the map to where you are, which is also very useful if you're not quite sure where you are and you have all your data on there. We, on our sewer and water data, we have all of the property information. So if there's a problem with the sewer or water line, they can click on the property next to where they are. They can get the owner details, they can get the phone number, they can get whatever they need off that straight away and notify the owner or call them or whatever they need to do. So that's also very helpful. The only problem we've had with that is that it is not live data. It has to be copied across. So that data could age out and they might still need to get information for it. But if you at least had the address, maybe they could call back to the office and say, hey, can you look up this address for me and see if they've got a phone number listed. So yeah, that was a very, very fast and dirty introduction there. I'm used to talking to other GIS users. So really, if you have any further questions about it now or later, that's fine. They're my details. Feel free to write them down, copy them. I'm going to, like I said, I'll make the presentation available later. And yeah, and like I said before, it's been great hearing some of the things that you guys are working through. It's a lot. I hope maybe you can find a solution here that's going to help out a little bit.
Well, I think what you've spoken to us about today, Beck, will definitely be one of the tools that will work us towards a solution. So thank you so much for that presentation. I think it's fascinating. I'm a data nerd. Has anyone got any questions directly for Beck? I'm actually going to hit Dr. Jessica Hoops up for her experiences in the field with population management and using GIS in a minute. But if you've got questions directly for Beck, now is the time to ask.
If you think of them later, you can send me an email. It's okay.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you for your generosity.
That's all right.
All right, Jess, if you're there, would you mind just having a chat to us about your experiences using GIS?
Yeah, sure, Nell, not a problem. So, hi, everybody. I think Nell gave an introduction earlier. I'm currently with AMRIC, but in my spare time and in my past life, I've done a lot of population management programs in Fiji and Papua New Guinea, and shelter medicine as well. So I think that Rebecca's kind of shown a really awesome way to do things, because when you have data in a spreadsheet, it's really hard to see that data and visualize what that data is showing you. Whereas when you put it on a map, all of a sudden some pictures become clear. So in shelter medicine, we used it a lot. We would plot our stray and surrenders. We just put the latitude and longitude of the addresses they were taken in into our intake forms, and then we'd plot them, and we could find pretty obvious patterns where strays were mostly coming from or where surrenders were mostly coming from, and it helped us to kind of guide education programs in those areas. But from a population level, we use it all the time to do pretty good estimates of roaming cats and dog populations. So basically, we use a lot of the AIAM strategies, and we develop route maps, and we kind of walk down the route or drive down the route and just basically take GIS coded pictures of all the dogs and stuff. And then that allows us to get an estimate of dogs per kilometer of road or cats per kilometer of road. And we can use that to do estimates across larger areas, or we can use it to monitor over time. So if we're focusing our interventions on free roaming, if we do the same route every year or two, it helps us to be able to track whether the animals on the road are going down over time and things like that. So I think, have some fun with your data. If you've got anything that's got coordinates, throw it into QGIS and see if it shows you anything, because you can learn so much from it, I find. Also disease stuff too. You can find patterns and stuff like that. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Jess. And I think the concept of hot spotting, so, if you can put the data into a system that then can spit you out a map to show you where your hotspots are for specifically your cat intake, then you can target your programs. So targeting, everyone's got very limited resources. So if you've only got a couple of $1,000s for a no or low cost dissecting program, being able to target it to a particular area where you're seeing a lot of your intake coming from can knock a big problem on the head pretty quickly and make a really big difference, rather than spending that couple of $1,000s just sort of scattergun across your local government area. So we need to think carefully and wisely about how we spend our very limited resources as well. So this is a really great way to help do that. So thank you so much, Jess and Beck.